Hello everyone, welcome back to another Tomato Sauce stream. Today, it's tier list update day, so we're going to be looking at the meta, we're going to look at some tournament results, we're going to talk about it a whole bunch, we're going to put them on our tier list, and we're going to see where everything currently stands. Now, there is obviously the elephant in the room, or I suppose the worm in the room. And that is, Worm is very, very dominant right now. I've seen a couple of people throw around tier 0. I've seen a couple of other people say it's not tier 0. I'm going to let you all know about my opinions about it as we kind of go into the tier list. But there are other decks that have been starting to crop up as potential Worm counters. The weirdest one is Dark Magician. I don't think most people expected Dark Magician, of all things, to randomly be like, yeah, by the way, I can sort of handle worms, which is interesting. I think most people kind of expected it to be Sky Saviors more than DM, but it has cropped up and it is doing okay. The other thing we do want to talk about is there is a new speed ban list that did kind of randomly drop to try and address Stardust, so we'll talk about that a little bit. And there is the new OCG reveals, which I believe means that we now have a bunch of Royal Rebel cards to look at. I haven't had a chance to look at them myself because I've been extraordinarily busy as of late, but we will be getting into all of that. But before we get into all of that, let's say hello to everyone in the chat. So we have Ninjago Zane with the first hello Ninjago Zane, welcome. We also have Victor here early as always. Welcome Victor. Victor has actually been streaming a decent amount of the new Sword Art Online game, which I played the demo for. I didn't think the demo was like anything super special. I don't think the game in general was going to be anything like super crazy, but it was better than I thought. Usually when you get like anime slop games, they end up kind of being a bit like, oh, this is forgettable, the combat's a bit crap, everything kind of sucks. This was a bit of a step up from that, so I actually do quite like it. I don't know if I'll actually get the whole thing myself, but we'll see. I don't have a lot of spare time at the moment, which means not a lot of time for video gaming, unfortunately. I need help with my Light Galaxy deck. Yeah, Light Galaxy is in a weird spot. Light Galaxy, like, it's not, like, awful. Like, it's not the worst deck in the world, but it's also just not competing with the stronger decks, realistically. You can definitely take games off them, but it's not in a fantastic spot right now. Losing to the event NPC. I mean, it depends then, are you auto-battling, or are you manually controlling it? That's the next question. Might be a hot take, but I don't think that Worm deck is that much more powerful than the others. It's more that it has a really easy way to find their plays. Hello, Human Portuguese Stuff fan. Well, it comes down to like ceiling versus consistency, right? Some people will say a deck is only as good as its ceiling. Some people will say a deck is only as good as its consistency. I think Worms is in an interesting position where it kind of has both. It's not only is a deck that can just OTK you out of nowhere. It has an incredible skill that lets you get to that OTK very, very easily, but it also has a backup game plan entirely if I could just make a maximum, which is also really good. And it can run, like, every card that sort of counters it, because, like, the best ways to deal with it is going to be things like Shady, it's going to be things like Trap Hole to hit the Dragoon, it's going to be things like Forever Freeze, which we have started seeing some people running, which, again, is just for that Dragoon. But outside of that, we've been starting to see people like metagaming around that, because the logic is, if you can stop the OTK, you're in a good spot to try and win. So people are playing Shady because you need it to flip down the fusion, Dangerous Spark Command when it comes down. But people have now metagamed around that, and they're like, well, Shady is seeing so much play, I can now play normal monsters like Dark Magician and things like Secret Order, and now I can play around Shady that everyone is on because everyone needs it to deal with the best deck. So now we're starting to like metagame around the metagame. And I'm going to be curious to see if we can somehow like now build around the normal monsters that people are starting to build. It's a really interesting development in the meta. And it's one of those things that I personally really, really like to see. What's powerful deck then? I mean, the powerful decks, I think everyone knows, is Worm right now. There is actually, I would say like, the Worm is probably in its own tier, if we're being honest. I don't know if that's going to be a popular opinion. I know some people want it to be like a tier 0 deck. But I think at the very least, I think it is going to be in its own tier. That being said, I think the tier beneath Worm is actually quite diverse. I think we're going to have quite a wide meta when it comes to beneath that tier. I hate when I trash talk my deck because I'm a horrible person and I treat my cards with respect. I mean, you can do whatever you want, especially when they're digital cards. I don't think they care whatsoever. Let's try and catch up with the chat if we can. But hello, a human. We have Gelato Gaga. Hello, Gelato Gaga. Welcome, welcome. I'm glad to see that you enjoy the opening music that we do have while we still have the heatwave. That is basically going to stay on our intro until the heatwave goes away. Because we had our first heatwave, which was abysmal, but it was quite short. Now we're in our second heatwave, which is nowhere near as bad temperature-wise, but is lasting a lot longer, which kind of sucks. Not really a big fan of that. We have Serena in the chat. We will give a shout-out to Serena, because Serena doesn't stream very often, but Serena has recently done another stream. So I want to encourage that. I do want to encourage Serena to keep streaming, so I'm always going to give out the shout-outs. But hello, Serena. Neos in the garbage can. Neos, unfortunately, has always been in a weird spot. I've always really liked the Neos deck and brush, but it came out, and it almost felt like it was immediately outclassed. And it's not even like it's a bad deck, it's just, why would you play a worse version of a deck that other decks just do better? Like, I don't know, it's in a weird spot, We got a new box, Rico. How's the meta dry? I mean, I understand that people don't like it when one deck suddenly starts popping off, but for me personally, I think this meta is in a really interesting spot, because when you have one dominant deck, like I said, we've already started seeing some experimentation of people trying to work out how to beat that. I think some people are going to try out things like Rebels, which I think a human did talk about at some point, and obviously Dark Magician we've just seen coming in, so it'll be interesting to see what actually does come of it. Yeah, we go. Don't worry, Royal Rebel with 6-back crow removal will save us. I trust. There is barely any choice. Look at Dork's meta. I want options. Hello, Ursus. Welcome on in, Ursus. Took you 50 minutes to start. Ninjago Zane, right? I have been streaming now, like streaming, I don't want to say full-time, streaming regularly for going on, what, 2.5 years? And we have, actually, is it almost 3 years? That's wild. That is wild. 3 years, damn. But we have always, 100% of the time, had a 15-minute start time. We are not about to change it right now, my friend. Why not start early, instant, or 15 mins? But the whole point is, if we start early, that allows people to come into the chat. That means, first off, there is engagement immediately, which means as soon as the stream starts, I can immediately start talking to people without having to wait for people to type me messages. Second, it allows me to have the stream running and be ready to kind of jump in whilst I still finish getting ready. Because it's one of those things where I don't have a lot of spare time. So in general, I like to have as much spare time as I can to get ready before everything has to go on. So those are like the big reasons. Now, it could be shorter. I'll give you that. It could be like 10 minutes. It could be, 5 minutes. But personally, I prefer that, especially because there are some people like Corey who do tend to come in late. And a lot of the time, it's like they check their phone, they see the stream started, they jump in late, and then they're like, oh, have I already missed everything, right? So it generally just kind of works out for everyone. Especially when everyone knows it starts 50 minutes early, you could just come in 15 minutes later if that is your concern, right? Hello, Chat and Tomato. Hello, Hit. Welcome. We have Voltalon in the chat as well. I've been looking into my own tier list, and it's been tough. Yeah, I don't think this is going to be an easy one. I think there's going to be a lot of opinions. There's going to be a lot of opinions going around as to where deck should be this time. Give me a new deck, please. I Can't Let Galaxy is I think, if you're just looking for something that's quite easy to play, very, very powerful, Worms is always going to be your option, right? Worms is a fun deck. It's really, really good. You can get most of it out of just this one new box that's come out. All you have to do, if you want to play, like, completely optimally, is you go back into an old box to get one UR and some, like, ends, or whatever the side maximum pieces are. And you don't even technically need the middle piece. I think it just gives you another option, which is really, really nice. So there is that. We have Corey in the chat. Hello, Corey. Welcome. Manual door at 50, event NPC. What do I go for, 7s or 1s? 7s, I think, is a future investment. 7s right now is like, it's fine. It's not bad, but the deck is noticeably weaker than Worm. Now, the difference is Worm has the potential to have a couple of spikes of getting a little bit better. When we get the next wave, when we specifically get the Darkness Bark come up, that will make the Worm deck better. But that's kind of going to be it. That's kind of the Worm ceiling. There's not going to be anything higher than that. Whereas 7s, there is still a lot of support we haven't got yet. So if you invest into 7s, in my mind, that's lower returns immediately, higher returns later. And even then, we might get enough new cards that you won't play any of the old 7 stuff anyway. So my recommendation would just be Worms. Worms is easy to play, easy to build, readily the best deck right now. Right? I think in my mind there's no alternative. Hello, Dr. Alex. Welcome on in. And hello, Dwan. I don't know if anyone else was doing the whole Dark Magician like counter to Worm before Dwan, but I'm just going to give Dwan the credit regardless because it's the first time I saw the tournament. Hello, Dwan. Welcome. We have Mono in the chat. We're doing exclamation mark Mono. Hello, Tomato. I'm planning Evil EDO tour in secret. Hopefully it's not Cope. What does that mean, Mono? What is an Evil EDO tournament? Why is it secret? If it's not advertised, how does it get players? Why are we? What is the Cope about? I am very confused about all of these statements. We have Gunkin Zooship Shari in the chat. When's the weather tier list coming out? I mean, for me, my favorite weather is gonna be like snow, as long as I don't have to like travel long distances. Short distances in snow is fine. Long distances sucks during snow. But if I'm like at home, if I'm just like vibing, snow is like S tier. Then like rain, I love rain, which is probably a reason I like living in England so much, because generally it's windy and rainy, which are the two things I like. For me, there is no better like ASMR than like being in a thunderstorm and there being like rain hitting the window. I think that is such like that is so calming to me. I just absolutely love that so much. But that's just me, right? So for me, like bottom tier is like sun. I hate it when it's sunny. I don't mind if it's sunny, but there's like a breeze and there's a lot of clouds in the sky. I think that is like actually quite high tier. When it's like no clouds, humid, raw heat just barreling down on you, I think that is awful. I hate that so much. I hate being clammy. I hate being sweaty. I hate all of that. So that's my like least favorite. Speaking of which, my hair is like escaping up there. Let's try and catch up with the rest of it. The once in a decade stream. Well, you gotta keep doing them. You gotta keep doing them, Serena. I believe. Bro, I just sent your vid to Palworld. TCG content creator because he needed feedback on reviewing matches and deck profiles on Palworld. Also, I cope to D-Link because the deck can produce bodies, keep you alive during the turn 2 temperature here is rising. I actually don't think... What is going on with my hair today? I really don't think that D-Linker is in like a horrible spot, but I also don't think it's in like a great spot either. So it's a weird one. As for Palworld, I haven't actually looked into the Palworld TCG like at all. It's something I have to look into at some point. I have actually been playing on an actual Palworld server for the 1.0 release with a bunch of friends. But I have such a small amount of free time compared to them that I am being absolutely dwarfed by them. So I've gone into like my own little corner and I'm just like doing my own thing whilst they're all like getting ready for endgame. I'm just like chilling, like slowly building up. But that's what I'm trying to do whenever I've got a bit of free time at the moment. Let's try and catch up with the chitty chatty. Start late so the ads can be clear. That's what I do. Hello, JD Scrub. Welcome. Hello, Tomato. Happy Tuesday, dude. Happy Tuesday, JD Scrub. Welcome. Neo Skysave is also a thing on its own. It doesn't have enough firepower once it gas. Once it gaslights out, but with additional package, it can keep going. Plus, the warrior part of Skysavers works even when locked by watch. That's fair. I don't know how that will function, but it's an interesting idea. Where is Corey? He's hidden. Never see Corey. Corey is also, it's K-O-R-I, not C-O-R-E-Y, if you're looking for him in chat. Or just use UARF1 middle piece and be done with it. Yeah, if you have the ticket, right? It depends if you have it or not. What's the UARF in the order boxes? The middle maximum piece. What Dark Magician? I saw it got second place in the Konami PB. I tried it. Seemed decent. Versus Worm, so I kept playing it. That's fair. I have to build RDA deck before I build Worm. Well, that might be a bit awkward. Check Soromir's OCG Rush channel whenever you got time in the day. Just yapping so far, though. Okay. I'll have a look at that probably after stream, then. I hate every weather. What is D-Link? It's a Dimension Linker. Lady Duelings. Alright. With that, we have managed to catch up with the Chitty Chatty. So, let's jump over and start talking about some of the bits and bobs that we have to yap about. So, first things first, I suppose we'll get the speed stuff out of the way, we have a new Forbidden / Limited list and skill rebalance. And it's an interesting one. So we had to hit Ancient Gear Explosive. And the reason why, Ancient Gear is a menace right now. I think everyone understands Ancient Gear, absolutely tier 0. So we didn't just hit Ancient Gear Explosive. We also had to hit Ancient Gear Cannon. Realistically, the Ancient Gear deck, with both Cannon and Explosive, tier 0, undefeatable. So it made sense we had to ban one of their cards and limit one another just to keep Ancient Gear down. Because, I mean, without that, Ancient Gear would just rule the meta. And we are in an ad break, which is really funny because right as the punchline's going to hit. We'll just wait for the ads to disappear. God, it's so warm today. It's like, it's not like warm, but it's like humid warm. Hello, everyone that got hit with the ads. Welcome back. But yeah, Ancient Gear is obviously a complete garbage deck. We have hit these cards because they do burn damage. And in Duel Links, because we have 4,000 life points and skills that break everything, anything that burns you has to go. And it's really funny as well. Because I was thinking about this before, right? So we have a card like Hinotama, right? So Hinotama is limit 1. The reason Hinotama is limit 1 is because it burns for 500. So I was thinking, what about some of the other burn cards, right? So Ukazi is like a good example. Ukazi burns for 800. So it's like, okay, Ukazi, not restricted, but they halved the damage. So it's really funny how they seem to pick and choose which cards they halve. Because at one point I thought it was just when they came out, but I'm not sure if that's strictly true. I think if it's like a really small burn, sometimes they're just like, oh, just won't bother halving it. So it's like, it's really funny that we're in this situation where now Chthonian Blast and Ancient Gear Explosive are now just put on a ban list just with a bunch of other random burn cards. So Zombie World down to 1. So this makes sense because Floodgate Field Spell can be searched by Ancient Fairy Dragon. Now the knock-on effect is this is going to hurt zombie decks, and I don't know if you guys play on the speed ladder very much, especially in like the lower ranks. There are so many zombie players playing like Bailer Drop Turbo, right? So this is a hit to them, but for me personally, I've always thought Zombie World was kind of a scummy card. Like, it turns off a lot of effects, which I think kind of sucks. It's just kind of an annoying floodgate, so I think getting rid of it is probably for the best. Then we have another field spell, which again, you just search with Ancient Fairy Dragon. We got Ghost Fairy. I don't even know what this card is. Once per turn, you can reveal a wind card from your hand until the end of your opponent's next main phase 1. Monsters the high level of the field can activate their effects. Oh, it's a floodgate. Of course it's a floodgate. Galaxy Journey. Special summon your banished light dark monsters. A face-up Xyz card you control is banished by this card in your graveyard. You can banish this card. Like, I don't know what this is being hit for. Like, is this a... This is obviously seeing play somewhere, right? I mean, let's have a quick... Just quickly click into it, see what it's saying. I was being seen branded? Thunder Dragons and ABC are kind of... Probably kind of whatever. But I assume it's... Because it's being seen as branded? I don't know. Weird one. Weird one. Ancient Gear might at least be trans to Rush. We take care of it with our 6k life points. I think Ancient Gear is going to be a really, really fun, aggressive deck when it does eventually come into Rush Duel Links, but... metagame-wise, I don't think the gap between Worm and the other decks is actually that big, but the issue comes with there being little reason to not play Worm. Yes. I, to a certain degree... agree with you. It's one of those Worms, if we're talking about just raw power level, like consistency versus ceiling versus, you know, I guess game win potential, is, again, it's not dwarfing all the other decks, but it does kind of outclass every other deck at all of those things, it feels like. So it's like, why would you bother playing anything else when you could just play Worm, which in my mind knocks it up a tier compared to all the other decks. So it's a weird one. It's definitely a weird one. No, I sort of agree. Now, I play Speed and Rush. Excelente. No, they actually halve every burn, even if it's small. Only cards released before the hard burn damage announcement deal full damage. Then why not retroactively go back and halve all the burns? Because they did that for Lava Golem, right? Because it used to burn for 1,000. and now it burns for 500. So they've picked and chosen some to nerf, but not all of them? Which also, I don't know, that just seems confusing. Like, why not just halve all of them? It just seems very strange to me. Don't worry, my reason to not play Worm is the cards look boring. I actually think the cards look so good. I love the idea of, like, land-based dragons covered in heavy machinery and dynamite. I think that is the coolest shit. That is my aesthetic through and through. I absolutely love it personally. Hello, Lost Memory. Welcome, welcome. Tomato, no, I need my Trick Stars to burn to death. Now, we'll just keep halving the Trick Star damage. In fact, what if we quarter the Trick Stars specifically, just to hurt the Trick Star players? Yeah, because Lava Golem was the only exception, which is weird as well. Just do them all in my mind. Another field spell, so another search. Hatronade now at 2. Does this matter? How many decks are playing Hatronade? Is anyone playing Hatronade? It was at 1, which means it was clashing with a lot. I mean, I guess it's being played in, like, lower tiered decks. 2 copies in Centurion, that's quite a lot, actually. I mean, it's clearly, like, a powerful card, but I wonder how much it matters in the current game, right? In the same way that, like, Dark Hole is a powerful card, but does Dark Hole really matter? I don't know. It's a weird one. So we have Shooting Quasar to 3. We have Stardust Synchron to 3. Enemy Controller to 3 is an interesting one, up from 2. We got Satellite Warrior to 3. So these are all, except maybe Enemy Controller, these are all Stardust hits. So massive, massive hits to Stardust, which is, I mean, I think that's good. It's a weird one. I saw people complaining on Twitter, which I know people complaining on Twitter tell me something new, right? But people were saying they didn't like this ban list because people had just invested into a new deck after the last ban list. And I kind of get that. But, like, do you, like, hate the game so much that you want to be in a tier 0 meta for longer than you have to be? I don't know. It just seems really weird. It just seems really antithetical to, like, having a good gameplay experience. It's like people care about just having the ability to win by bullying the non-Stardust decks, or you just want to play mirrors all the time? Both of which sound awful. So I don't know. It's weird. I don't like either of those outcomes. It just, like, the only reason I can see is, like, you're down in, like, bronze tier, or, like, yeah, bronze silver rank, and you want to bully everyone not playing Stardust. But even then, you have to know what you're doing with Stardust. I've beaten many Stardust players because they clearly just had no idea how to play the deck properly, right? So it's not even like just net decking Stardust means you auto win, right? It's a weird one. Counter to Val Trust? Real. Econ to 3 feels like a nerf. Kind of. Like, realistically, are you playing Econ over any of the other Limit 3s? Mind you, what is even on Limit 3 now? Like, Book of Eclipse? Like, what are the Limit 3s that we care about? I do. At least they didn't hit the structure deck card. I mean, that's at least something, right? If you draw Stardust Synchron or the other one, you can activate the skill to return the other from the deck. Other to the deck. I mean, that's, yeah. I think they went a bit too harsh. I kind of get it, but I think the issue was the first time they hit it not hard enough, and then the second time they absolutely murdered it. It feels like exactly the same thing that happened with Gaia, right? Gaia comes out, it's crazy. Everyone says, Konami-kun, Konami-sama, could you please just take away the ability to play Elemental Hero and Matarian in this deck? Just change the skill a little bit. And then Konami went, okay, first time we nerf it, slap on the wrist, still the best deck in the game. And then we went, Mr. Konami, you still not fixed the problem. Could you maybe take one more crack at it? And they went, God, these people just keep complaining at us. Fine, we're going to murder the deck into the ground, hit it 8 different ways, give it limit 3s, give it limit 1s. We're going to change the skill to make it unplayable. We're going to reduce the attack power on it. And it was just like, no, Konami, this is not what we wanted. But they have 2 modes, right? They have either, we're going to give it a slap on the wrist, or we're going to get out the shotgun, and we're going to blast the crap out of it until it's no longer playable. I don't know. They're the 2 ways that Konami tend to nerf things, and it's really weird. But hello, Giorfio. Welcome on in. Don't worry, that will happen to Worms as well. I mean, it might do. Or they'll just keep power creeping, because that seems to be the rush way at the moment. Is whenever a new deck comes out and it's a little bit too good, they go, don't worry, I've got a stronger deck just around the corner. Don't worry, okay? It's coming. Same thing as Gaia. Banlist 1, they hit the traps that stopped Gaia. Then List 2 killed Gaia completely. Yeah, which is a shame. Gaia was a cool deck. Like, no one, I don't think, actually wanted Gaia to, like, die. They just wanted it to not be tier 0, right? So people were just like, could you just, like, tweak it a bit just to make it a bit weaker so that I don't feel like I have to play just this one deck? And then Konami was like, oh, you want this deck to never be played again. Don't worry, I've got you, fam. Pure comedy. Where you can't activate to summon the 2 cards to the field is what I mean also. I mean, that's fair. Unless the deck is RB, somehow RB is immune to power creep. Well, and hero, right? Oh, yeah, there we go. And heroes, of course. It's one of those, it's so weird how just so long as your deck has a solid game plan, as long as other decks get nerfed around it, or you get like new support or new good generic support, some of these decks do just kind of feel timeless. Like we say, like RB, like heroes. Still have 2 Stardust monsters in the deck you can. RB should be buffed more. No, I'm not sure that's my takeaway from this. But before we get back into that, let's finish off the speed since we're almost done with that anyway. So Cyber Dragon Infinity, unlimited. This is interesting. I don't, like, obviously this is kind of nice for Cyber Dragons, but the Cyber Dragon deck was ending on like Infinity Vimana anyway. So I don't think this really actually buffs Cyber Dragon a ton. Like, maybe because you freed this up, you can now play a limit 1 that Cyber Dragon wants to play. But more interestingly, is there some other deck that can make good use of Infinity now? I don't know if there is a deck that can just go into Infinity easily that isn't Cyber Dragons. Heroes sometimes get some small buffs though. Infinity freed before Raw, by the way. You know what? I'm fine with that. Raw can stay. I don't know. It's a weird. I don't dislike salads, but I don't love it either. I don't know. It's a deck that I don't mind being in the meta, but I don't want to play it myself. That's kind of how I look at salads. Besides that new contact fusion, I don't want to spend 1k gems or money for purple Stardust card. There you go, bam. This plus ABC. That is an interesting one, actually. How does ABC make Infinity? I assume, because you have to have level 5s, right? What level 5s does ABC run? I haven't, like, seen a modern ABC list, so... ABC. Hello, Koro-sama. Welcome. Maybe Raid Raptor support next box? That deck can make it, too. Yeah, Raid Raptors, actually, is a very good shout. That can quite easily make this. Prometheus? Okay. I can't even... It's Ptolemaeus, right? Ptolemaeus? I think that's how you pronounce that. And then Flygate is unlimited. I don't know if that matters at all. To be honest, it's the same for any rank 4 deck. Yeah, I guess, yeah, because Ptolemaeus exists, you could just go, like, any 2 4s. Just immediately go into it. Is there anything in here that matters? Adina's protection no longer burn. I mean, that's just good. Rescue Rabbit Call, that's also good. And then this is the big one, right? The big one. Second effect now adds specifically Shining Star Dragon from deck to hand instead of 1 tuner from your deck and 1 copy of Shooting Star from outside of your deck. The third effect now plays 2 non-Signer Dragons at random and 1 tuner Signer Dragon instead of allowing you to choose the 3 you want and no longer sends to the graveyard. So... the one thing on this skill that I absolutely despise is this line here. Where is it? This is just the one thing that I'm just like, we just didn't need this as well, right? So like, this deck was already really strong. I don't know how it is like post these nerfs, right? But this deck was already super strong. And then they just went, also, by the way, if you go first and you leave something in attack position, you are dead. And this is like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll just randomly slap. I'm gonna make my guy have 15,000 attack. that we could just play from hand. You're just, okay. Like, it just felt like that was like the big like kick in the dick, where it's like, everything else already seems crazy. You already do so much with the skill. You already have so much power. The end board this deck makes is crazy. And they also went, yeah, but if you go second, also, Converging Wishes is an OTK tool. So don't worry about that. I don't know. This was the one, like the rest of it, I was like, I get it. It's an unbelievably powerful skill. It's doing all this stuff. I just don't think it needed Converging Wishes on top of that. It's just so strange to me. You need 3 level 4s for this, so it's not worth it to make it in every rank 4 deck. I mean, that's fair as well. Here, no, the one we're excited, Blackwing and ways it could make rank 8-9 Floodgates. Well, it depends what we have, right? The only one I can think of is, oh god, what is the card even called? Oh, I've forgotten what the Floodgate is called. This is the issue, I'm terrible with names, I'm absolutely terrible with names. I can only think of one off the top of my head. I think it'd be decent after the ban list, but all tournament organizers except Quantum don't want to allow the skill. It's easier to ban the skill because you can't enforce that people are going to do it correctly, and then you're going to get a lot of people complaining, and then they're going to send in messages and be like, he didn't do the skill the new way, and then, I don't know. It depends how much you, like, respect the community and their ability to not be dicks. Which, I don't know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Players sometimes do just kind of be that way, right? I was still able to play the deck with Subterra. Hello, Duel Links Alpha. Welcome on in. A new star protector in EDO. We got Chu Fam? Alright, we got Chu Fam. I was like, what? Star Protector's Chu Fam? That sounds awesome. No, it's not. Stardust can still end on the same board as before with no Shooting Star Trap and no Searchable Bell. They removed the Search Any Tuner part. That means they will release a really powerful tuner for the main box, Ash Blossom, next box, confirmed. Could you imagine if that was actually what they're going to plan with it? That would be kind of wild. But that is all of the speed changes. I like these changes personally. I think if ever there is ever a tier 0 in your game, you should do your best to try and make it not tier 0. And try and make it not tier 0 ASAP. I think having a tier 0 in the game is generally not good. Most people aren't going to want to play in a tier 0 format. I think that's the thing that's going to make people quit. It makes people not want to try out the game if they're trying to get into it. And they're like, oh, what's the meta like right now? Oh, we're in a tier 0. Okay, I won't bother. Right? I don't know. It's a weird one. It is a weird one. But moving on, we got our OCG stuff. So first things first, we have Union base card reference art. Look at this. This is beautiful. This is one of the best looking cards. Look. This is my kind of vibe. I love this, like, kind of cute, but also kind of like the kind of deadpan eyes where it's kind of creepy. I kind of love that so much. By the way, does anyone know what the fuck was the point of Ancient Gear? I mean, what, the explosive or the cannon? Because they're both just FDK tools, right? They both just burn. I was using the Wheel of Namesight to randomize the dragon selected, and was using Flu, Quick Play, and DD Crow to search the Flu field spell. To sack off, I got Ancient Fairy Dragon to search Subterra field spell, to search the Nemesis to set, to flip, and search the Omni hand trap. It's so weird as well that you can even use a skill like that in that way, right? Where it's like, oh, I'm just gonna use it. It's like a human was saying earlier as well. We'll just search out any tuner. Okay, we'll just search out hand trap tuners. Like, it's kind of crazy, right? When in doubt, burn or floodgate with what? Gives me Wooper vibes. Yeah, I kind of get that as well. And not the banned one, the regular Ancient Gear. Yeah, you're talking about the Ancient Gear cannon, right? This one. I don't know what this was being used in. I assume they just hit it because they were like, we're going to hit it anyway. Only on FTK and Adventure FTK? God, I don't like how there are so many FTKs, by the way. I'm just really not a fan. So here we have Diram, the Holy Empress. Now this is a good looking card. Like, this is just good looking art. I like the floating... God, what do we even call these? I'm just going to call them floaties. I like these floaties around her. I think they look good. This, I'm not a big fan of. This is Fairy of the Stars. I don't know. This is not my kind of aesthetic. I think it's too, like, bubbly. It looks bad. I don't like this. There's a zoom in. I like this. This looks pretty good. I don't hate this. Who even is this? This is Journeying Pleiage. Okay, so it is one of the Pleiages. And that's it for the arts. So now we're going to go on to the next stuff. There's another FTK they missed as well. I mean, there are so many FTKs, I don't think they will ever truly hit them all. It's not once per turn. Was it looped or something? Manipulator of Souls FTK. Exactly. There's too many FTKs. Take out all the FTKs. Meanwhile, Paradox Brothers skill dodging another ban list. Surely there's still a way to zero card FTK. I mean, probably. Sorting out my chair. Alright, let's take a look at the new cards, shall we? Save the World with Star Protector. So, what do we have here? First off, let's look at this art. I don't like this art, if I'm being honest. I think this looks a bit naff. Let's see what it does. So this is Slay the Star Protector's Gunslinger. So send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. If you sent Fusion with this effect, so we have to stack Fusion to the top of our deck, I guess. Then you could Fusion summon one Water Magical Knight, or Worm, by placing monsters on the bottom of your deck from your field or graveyard. Now, the way this is written, does the Worm have to be water? Because I could understand this either way. I'm disappointed that they didn't unban my cards for Rush, especially ones that won't do much to the meta. Disappointed they didn't unban any cards for Rush. Do you mean unlimit? Because I don't think there are any unbans. Or any bans. It gives Magical Musketeer F-Boy vibes. I mean, kind of. Now this, I think, looks a lot better. This is a much nicer aesthetic looking card. Fist of the Star Protector's Roaring Gauntlet. So, excavate the top 4 cards of your deck and show them. Choose a Star Protector's Awakening. From among them, send it to the graveyard. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. If you sent it to the graveyard, you can Fusion summon a Fist, the Contractor of the Imprisoned Dragon, by sending monsters from your hand or field to the graveyard, including this card. Okay. More interesting, it has really good stats for an effect monster. 1315. That's really nice. I imagine Worm also has to be water. I think the Worm has to be water. It's weird. I think, again, I could... It makes sense, right? Because it's water, and then Magical Knight or Worm. But also the English language, Water Magical Knight, or a Worm, right? It's a weird one. Alright, so we have Contractor of the Abyssal Dragon, level 9, made using Priestess and any level 8 or lower water effect monster. Continuous effect, water monsters in your field in attack position gain 400 attack, cannot be changed to defense position. I mean, that's not bad. It's going to come down to how easy it is to make this. And based on what we've got, this is probably the best way, but then we need Fusion on top of our decks, then it becomes how easy is it to get Fusion on top of our deck, so we'll see. This is Fist, the Contractor of the Imprisoned Dragon, so this is the one that this one summons. 2800 attack, not bad. Materials, Fist plus any level 8 or lower. During the main phase that you Fusion summon this card, you can shuffle 2 monsters from your graveyard into the deck. Choose 1 monster on your opponent's field and destroy it. That's already pretty good. Then you can choose 1 Water Magical Knight or Water Machine. So this is where it throws me off, because this says Water Magical Knight or Water Machine. Whereas the other one just says Water Magical Knight or Worm. So this, again, it could just be the way it's been translated, but this to me says that this one, the Worm can be anything, but who even knows? From your opponent's field and destroy it. You choose a Water Magical Knight. So are we giving our opponent monsters? Interesting. Interesting. That card has aura. I mean, I think this card... I don't know. What do we think about this art? I don't think I like this art. Like, the idea behind it is good, but, like, the actual guy is just this. The wings are transparent, so we can barely even see them. So they might as well not be part of the card art. So the actual guy is just this. And then this dragon up here is neat, but like it just doesn't add to the art. I feel like there's too much like unused space on this, and I don't really like it. Shadowverse art? I mean, maybe. Shadowverse has this really annoying thing that it does as well, where when you summon a card to the field, it like zooms in, and you get like just the card's face rather than like the whole card, which I don't really like. Does the fusion prevent shiny? Yes. If you cannot be changed to defense position, you cannot be flipped face down and changed to defense position. It makes me think of those feet and hands archetype. Dual avatar. Ah, dual avatar. I was like, feet and hands archetype? What are we talking about? Is that United in the chat? Hello, Tomato. How are you? This heat has been killing me today. But it's a little better. The issue today, yesterday it was windy. So it was like 32 feels like 28. Today, it's like 30 feels like 34. Right, that's kind of how it is. Just because it's so humid and there's like no wind today. I don't know, I'm not a big fan of it personally. Alright, Star Protector's Awakening. This card's name is treated as fusion while in the graveyard. Place this card on your field. Place this card on your field on top of the owner's deck. So, okay. This is one of those weird, not a real card cards. So if we use this, I assume because it's in the graveyard, it's going to count it as fusion. So the idea is we want to get access to this card, activate it, put it on top of our deck, then send it to the graveyard. I mean, yeah, I guess. Level 2, so you would summon it with Gigantic, usually at the end of your FTK. That makes sense. Alright, area. So area plus any water, you can contact. You cannot use this card as material for the fusion summon of area. The attacks of your water monsters pierce. That's just fine. Nothing like crazy. This is fine. Alright. Royal Rebel time. Here we go. These are going to be the big ones. So first up, Royal Rebel's Pit Shifter. Interesting card art. So, send one Light Fiend monster from your hand to the graveyard. Draw a card. I mean, like, that's fine. Then you can choose to change the battle position of this card or one monster on the opponent's field. This is fine. This isn't great. This isn't awful. It's just kind of there. Next up, Royal Rebel's Great Mixer. Let's take a look. I think this art doesn't look like a Royal Rebel card. It just looks kind of weird. During the turn this card was normal summoned, choose a Elite Amp in your graveyard and add it to the hand, then increase this card's level by 1 until the end of this turn. For the rest of this turn, you cannot attack with monsters except fiends. To bump up to a 5, that's fine, because that gives you prog, and that gives you heavy metals. Not heavy metal. Yeah, heavy metals effect. So that works. We can get... The downside is we can only get this increase if we have Amp in the graveyard, so it's kind of situational. I don't think the lock matters too much. Oh my god, Royal Rebels when they, why they mid. Royal Rebel support, let's go. Mixer gives me big Symphonic Warrior vibes, yeah, kinda. Alright, Royal Rebels Falsetto. Level 7, 1600 attack. You contribute this card by contributing 1 Light Fiend. Okay, so that is quite nice. That means we get a level 7 onto the board quite easily. During the main phase, this card was normal or special summoned. Choose a level 8 or lower Fiend monster in your graveyard and special summon it to your field of face down defense. That's actually really good. Especially because you can just get a second copy of it. So the thing to remember is, this is ass in Duel Links because we have the skill. This basically, sort of, lets us kind of get the skill. It doesn't really, because the skill is just absolutely crazy. But this just lets us get out our big guys so much easier with their effects out, like live, which is really good. I actually really like this card. But again, I don't think this card would see play in Duel Links unless we get a new Royal Rebel skill that outclasses the current one, but doesn't summon bodies as easily. It would have to be a really weird skill to do that. Hello, Luis Fernando. Welcome, welcome. Falsetto Pro, the best card from this first wave of Rebel support. Falsetto is decent. Elite Amp looks bad in Duel Links. I don't even know if Elite Amp looks really good. But where even is Elite Amp? This one. I mean, a lot of these cards I don't think are going to be good in Duel Links. Right, then we have Extreme. I really, really don't like this card art. I still think his face looks really bad. Like, the whole face area in this card art specifically looks so ugly. But during the turn this card is normal summoned by attributing a level 5 or higher monster. Send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. Choose one monster on your opponent's field. For the rest of this turn, if you tribute summon a Light Fiend monster in attack position, you can tribute that opponent's monster instead of a monster on your field. For the rest of this turn, you cannot attack monsters except fiends. Is this good? Like, card economy-wise, this is not great. But this is a way to get rid of an opponent's monster without tributing it and without spinning it. Or without attacking it, without destroying it, without spinning it. So, it has, like, value there. But in my mind, I almost think this is more of a side deck card. That, like, if you're in a matchup where you just need that sort of effect, maybe you side this in. It's a weird one. The new level 8 boss is lovely, though, too. Level 7, make more easily to summon 2 bosses per turn. This is not entire support. The set is yet to begin. Revealed, like, a couple of new cards. Extreme is weird compared to the rest of the level 8 pose-wise. But, yeah, they're going a similar vibe alt to Heavy Metal. Heavy Metal looks awesome, though. I don't know. This guy looks like his hairline is receding. And he's got kind of like a... like 40-year-old man vibe about it. I don't know. I don't really like it. Use my opponent's monster for a cheeky cul-de-sac. Call it the cul-de-sac. Extreme is a little bad in my opinion. I'm not a big fan of it. A win more card. Do you have to tribute 2 monsters? Yes. To summon this, you have to tribute 2. And to summon the monster you summon, you have to tribute 2. Well, again, if you want to summon a high-level monster. You know, level 7 or 8. This card maybe looks okay in Rush OCG, but really looks bad in Duel Links. I don't even think this card looks good in Rush OCG. Looks like a former DJ. Yeah, like, the DJ's like 45 years old and trying to recapture the magic of their youth. That's kind of what this card looks like. I don't know, it just looks wrong. Because the actual guy looks fine in other card art. This card art specifically, like this angle they've given him, just looks awful. Hello, Pro Manicus. Welcome, welcome. Don't we have that card that increases the level and counts as 2 tributes? Guardian, I think it's called. Yes, we do. So here, he looks fine. Like, this card art looks absolutely fine. Royal Rebel starting. So, if there is a face-up Light Fiend monster on your field, pay 600 life points. Send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard, then you can choose 1 spell trap on your opponent's field and destroy it. It only took us 6 years to get a back row hate for Royal Rebel, guys. It only took us 6 years, but we've got one. We finally got him. Hello, Toti. Welcome, welcome. Is that Royal Rebel support? Yeah, we're looking at the new Royal Rebel stuff. I love starting art as a vibe. Why do we have to pay life points? I mean, it's just kind of the Royal Rebel. Do Royal Rebels pay life points? I guess they don't. I don't think it matters too much, though. 600 life points isn't going to usually make the difference, but, I mean, it could. And it still sucks. I don't think you would play this card, realistically. When you have access to better... Like, this deck on its own is playing like Prog Rock. So, you have Prog Rock. Why would you play this, right? But, that is all the OCG stuff. We've done it. We've got to the end. Can't make it too good. You wanted a 1-for-1, you crazy. We have to have a face up, pay 600, and mill 3 to replace MST. Mill 3 is good, though. Like, mill 3 is a positive effect. A Psychic does... It's because he loves his cousin. Real. Maybe in Duel Links it will see play. I hope not. I'm not sure if this is the right kind of hit. Like, in a weird way, Genie's Fire Breath has more application than this. So, it's a weird one. Pay life points equals bad. I mean, pay life points is bad. There's not really ever a positive to paying life points outside of exactly, like, Psychic, who want their life points to be lower. I mean, I guess, like, Magnum Overlord. But, like, paying life points isn't always the end of the world. That is the real takeaway. Sometimes you could pay 500 or 600 life points. It's not really going to have a massive impact on the game. Sometimes it will. Is that the full list of cards in the next box? No, we have not got all the cards yet, Valor Sparkle. But hello, hello. I'll probably just play the level 7 and maybe the level 4. Yeah, I would play this in OCG. I don't even know if I'd play Great Mixer, you know. The thing that holds this card back is that you have to get Elite Amp. So if Elite Amp isn't in your graveyard, this is a 1200 vanilla. Which is really bad. This is like... also kind of shit. Like, changing battle positions is like... it's a nice little add-on. But you still then got to get rid of this guy, which means... the only real good way to do that is if you're summoning specifically one of your cards that only needs one high level to be tributed. So you need Prog Rock, you need Heavy Metal, or you need the brand new one. What's his name? Extreme? Which is very awkward. I don't know. I don't really like it. And again, I don't know if I'd even play this. I think you definitely play Falsetto. I don't know if you play any of the others. This support looks mid/bad. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan. Mixer, Falsetto, and Extreme are all quite good, in my opinion. Let's go back and have a look. I still don't think Extreme is good. So the logic is, if you want to use this card, you have to... right, let's assume we don't just have all the cards that we need to make this, like, super, super easy, right? So, in order to get this out, we're probably using 2 monsters. Right, let's say that they have their effects to increase their level, so we're not going to, like, try and use that into our maths. So we have to get out 2 guys, then we tribute them to summon out this guy. So that's 3 cards from our hand, basically, to get this guy out. Then, we have to choose a card in our opponent's field, and now we can tribute that card. So that's all fine and dandy. But now we have to have another card, unless we're tributing our Extreme already, and then another card to summon off of it. So that's like a full hand of cards to summon out a 2500, which will effectively be a vanilla, as well as another guy, and you get to pop 1 guy on your opponent's board. I mean, I guess that's not, like, awful. I guess if you compare it to, like, if you just had another Heavy Metal, that removes 2 cards from your opponent, and you get Heavy Metal's effect. I don't know. I still don't really like it. I feel like you're jumping through a lot of hoops to get not a great result out of it. I don't like Falsetto. I think Falsetto is probably the best card in here. Importantly, the new support makes Echo 2. Whole pushes on its own. Extreme is... that's a good point, actually. Echo is also, like, really, really good here. Extreme is fundamentally Heavy Metal without attack gain, but more resource slanted. I would say Extreme is not exactly the same, though, because we won't get any value out of Extreme unless we guarantee we have another high-level Royal Rebel on our hand, which shouldn't be too difficult, but there will sometimes be hands that you look at, and you go, I don't have another Tribute Monster, so Extreme is just a vanilla, right? So, I don't know, it's a weird one. Play 6 bosses that eat mons easily. Amp Spam lets you easily have bosses in rotation. I mean, yeah, but again, it's like, how often is that actually going to work out? I think you will find hands where you just can't do anything with this card. Whereas I think you very rarely do you find a hand where you can't do anything with Heavy Metal. So I think in a world where you already have a good hand, this guy can make your good hand a bit better. But by that logic, he kind of feels a bit Winmore. I mean, Voltalon plays more OCG than I do. So I would value his opinion over mine, personally. I personally, though, am not a huge fan of this card. Like, I think this card is, like, it's fine, but it's not great. That's kind of how I look at it. I think this is just amazing. I mean, the downside of this is that you only can use light. But this is just 2 cards, you get 2 high-level bosses. Which means if you're playing things like Doom Metal, or things like Hard Rock, you're probably not playing Hard Rock. But if you're playing Doom Metal, which I don't know if the modern version of this deck would even play Doom Metal, but this is a really good way to get that off. But it comes down to, are you using the cards that need 2 7+s to get their effects? That's what it comes down to for me. If you're not using those cards, you don't need this. But, moving on to Rush. Look at this wheel. Look at this pie chart. What is going on here? Worms, 71.6% of top 4 points. Second is Gradius, which is basically just Giorfio. It's just Giorfio, like, plowing through with that. The ceiling of the deck with just 2 heavy metal is actually not that fantastic or reliable. But modern standard, so having more bosses that does offensive stuff is just very good, even if it has some quirks. I guess, but like, at what point could you just be playing, like, Doom? Especially since you just get the new Falsotto, which makes getting Doom's effect off a lot better. I don't know. So, again, without, like, seeing how the deck plays right now, though. Though worth noting, at worst, you can still use Cul-de-sac, or what to tribute over the extreme target is. I mean, yeah, that is a good shout as well. Only 71% Gaia Matarion says pathetic. So, this is a weird one. So, obviously, it's only been a week. I think it's been 8 days since the box came out. So, on one hand, you could be like, oh, new meta, people have to adjust. People are trying out Worm, the new Toy Syndrome, all of that. But, we have never had this kind of breakdown. 71% is extreme for this first week. Like, deck hype. Worm Fusion Burn. Wow, you're so sweet. A Noodle Fusion Burn. Hello, human resources. Exactly. Exactly. A skill needs to be locked to fire. Yes, pushing the box, blah, blah, blah. Not relevant balance. I actually don't think you lock this to fire. If we lock the deck to fire, that pretty much kills it and makes it, like, bottom tier garbage. I think you just make it so you can't search the max pieces. I think that fixes it. Because the deck doesn't work without Dragoon. And Dragoon is an Earth. And also you need the maximum pieces to get Dragoon for a discount. I mean, you don't, strictly speaking, need to get the max pieces, but it does make it feel a lot nicer. So, like, in my mind, just take away the ability to search the max pieces and take away the ability to search Dragoon. And then that fixes it. I think it's just put the equipment and maximum to 1. The thing is, you don't need the maximum. So that doesn't solve the problem. Like, all that does is now say, okay, you can no longer do the goofy maximum lock. Well, like tower, I guess. It's like a tower's. I'd like Build Dragoon and Claw Shield to be limit 1 or something. Build Dragoon to 1 is fine if you're able to search it. Claw to 1, I guess, is also fine, because then it just takes Claw out of the deck. And I don't mind taking Claw out of the deck. Seems tier 0 enough. I personally don't think this is tier 0, but we'll take a look at it. We'll get people's opinions as we go through. But Gradius, Dark Magician, 4D, E-Hero, Sky Savior, and Seven's Road also all making a bit of a splash. But if we look up here, we can see... Oh, would you look at that? Look at that. First to second, Dark Magician is the only one that has managed to creep its way in. Takes Pot Out too. I mean, taking Pot Out is good. If you are... In my mind, if you're the best deck in the game, you shouldn't have the best legend and the best legend trap. The best legend spell, the best legend trap. Because to me, that's like... You're already the best deck. Why do you need this, like, extra benefit? It seems a bit weird to me. Helmet to limit 3. I think, personally, I think you fix the entire deck if you just change the skill so that you can't search anything. Like, you could search any level 8s, you can search any field, any equip, and you can search any card that has exactly 400 defense. I think those should be the restrictions. That way you can't search Build Dragoon, so you have to play more copies of it to make it more consistent. And you can't search the maximum pieces, which means you can't just play one middle max piece and just use the skill, immediately have access to the maximum. For me, that solves pretty much all the problems the deck has. And it would still be a tier 1 deck, but it wouldn't be like a solo tier 1 deck. That's how I look at it. I think a lot of the changes that people are suggesting is basically trying to, like, murder the deck. Which I don't really want to do. Especially Manica's suggestion, I think, is, like... I don't want to be, like, rude. So I'm just going to say, I think it's a bad suggestion. I do not like that suggestion at all. In my mind, that just kills the deck entirely and doesn't make it... Like, we don't want to get rid of the deck. I want to see Worms at Worlds. I just don't want Worms to be the only good deck at Worlds, if that makes sense, right? I also get second in DM with Now Cup. So again, Now Cup, the last 2 that we've had have not had 16 plus players. And if they do not get 16 plus players, they do not make their way onto the spreadsheet. So I don't consider those like real tournament results. As much as people might not like that, I don't take that into account. Because it's such small data, right? Put Autumn and Claw to 1. I mean, you could do that. I mean, no one's going to give a shit about... Like, people are only going to play 1 Autumn anyway. Getting rid of Claw, I think, is fine. The issue is Claw is actually okay, right? I like Claw in the deck. The Claw is only, like, really annoying when it's on the maximum. So you could, like Louise suggested, I believe, just put 1-1, 1-1, right? But if you do that, I feel like the deck is still... gonna be crazy good, because you could just take out the middle maximum piece and the deck is still completely fine. I think, for me personally, the thing that makes the deck super duper crazy good is the ability to search Dragoon. I think that is what makes it really good, because then all you need to do is build Dragoon and 1 skill target, like so a helmet or a Barkhammer, and you have like full combo. Like, you could just make both your guys pop 2 cards on your opponent's board, potentially just OTK your opponent, right? After this Fireworm skill, I now understand how scary maximum is when it's searchable. I mean, it's crazy, right? They can only play Worms once per match, though. They can only play Worms once per match, though, right? I have no idea what we mean by that, Ballast Sparkle. A middle max piece to 1? I mean, you could put middle max piece to 1. But again, I think if you just do that, if we just say middle max piece to 1, Claw to 1, I don't think that... I think the deck is still the best deck in the game by a large margin. Because I don't think just taking away Pot of Greed and taking away the middle max piece is enough to make that deck weak. Or like weak enough to allow the other decks to compete with it a lot. In essence, kill Rush searching. Yeah. I mean, searching is unbelievably powerful, right, in any card game. I mean, it's unbelievably powerful in Speed as well. So Rush was designed with no searching in mind. All the cards are designed to say, right, we're going to draw into what we need, we're going to mill cards into the graveyard that we need, we can get them out of the graveyard. So having the ability to just search them willy-nilly is very, very powerful. Very warm. Of course, searching killed Rush. It's not supposed to be that way. I mean, I wouldn't say it killed Rush. Like, the game is still... Rush Duel Links is still going fine. Right? It's still playable. It's still good. It's just not as diverse as we would like, right? For some reason, I thought they had to play different decks every game in a match, or can they just spam Worms? Ah, yes, yes. You can only play it once. But the issue then becomes either you end up in a Worm Mirror, and then it's just like whoever gets lucky gets, well, for the most part, whoever gets luckier, because the Worm Mirror is basically who can resolve the most trap cards wins the Worm Mirror. That's just how the mirror works. So because of that, whoever gets to do that just wins, and then maybe you go head-to-head with the others. But then it comes down to how much value you get off of your Worm deck. So if you're quite likely to win on that deck anyway, you want to, ideally, make your 5th best deck go against your opponent's Worms, right? That's kind of how you want that, because then you get a lot of value off of your 5th best deck, because it probably wasn't going to win anyway. So now it's lost, and you've taken their free win off the board. But if their Worms plays against your 2nd best deck, now the Worms have gotten a lot of value, right? Does that make sense? I don't mind them using fusions and maxims together, to be honest, but Claw is a bit much. So I think Claw is fine. if it's on a fusion monster. I think Claw only becomes a big issue when it is slapped onto a maximum. The reason being that having to get rid of the field spell turns off the Claw anyway, so I don't think that matters too much. All you need to do is just play a back row hate. The downside is, if you play a back row hate and then you also need to have a monster pop, that can be annoying because not all decks have access to that very easily. So you want the ability to attack over. And if it's a maximum, it's probably going to have like 4,000, 5,000 attack, and you can't attack over it. So in my opinion, I don't mind Claw. I mind Claw when it's on the maximum mode. Had to play 3 anime decks minimum, I think. Mono is saying this because he doesn't like much search because OCG Rush doesn't search specific cards. So in my mind, if you were to tell me what is my ideal version of Rush Duels, for me it's OCG. I think 40 card decks, 8,000 life points, no skills is the better way to play the game. If you were to put a gun to my head and tell me, alright, either you can have OCG but digital and it's supported by Konami, or Duel Links, I'm sorry, I'm always going OCG. If that happened though, I would not stop playing Duel Links because Duel Links is interesting and it's its own meta, its own different style of game. And I think that is really cool. I've always been the kind of person that likes alternative formats. So in my mind, Rush Duel Links is an alt format of the OCG. It's just, we currently don't have a good way to play OCG officially, which I would really like. If they both were available and I could play them both, I would just play them both, right? That's easy peasy for me. I get best of both worlds. But again, if you're telling me I have to play just one or just the other, I'm always taking OCG. OCG is just more fun. The game is more engaging in my opinion. But again, there have been some really bad misses in OCG. We've had a lot of tier 0 in OCG, which I'm not really a big fan of. Character specific skills. I wonder if 2 mini boxes in a row means more people are playing Rush because they expect people to spend more on gems. So Bala Sparkle, it's every single time at this time of year. In fact, we can actually just go and have a look. We always get 2 mini boxes. So last year, we had Eternal Galaxy Road mini box, and then we got immediately Flash of Shining Flare mini box. So just we having 2 mini boxes back to back at this time of year is just how Konami do it. I would allow searching in OCG Rush, but not to this scale. The thing is, when Rush was made, there were just a lot of things that they just decided they weren't going to do. Searching the deck is one of them, and they've stuck to that, and I think they're going to plan to stick to that. I think there are just... It's like Banish, right? They just don't want the Banish pile. So I get it, we're just not going to have Banish, right? If they release the Master Duel client for OCG Rush, would you change your channel to be focused on the new, or would Duel Links focus try 50/50? I would, if we got Master Duel Rush Duel, right? We'll call it Master Rush Duel. If we got Master Rush Duel, I would probably make that my primary content. And then whenever there is like a lull period, so whenever like we're waiting for a new product to come out, there's no news going on, that would be the time where I would hop back into Duel Links. And that is how I would, like, do my content. I would still keep up with both of them. And obviously, if there was, like, big news for Duel Links, I would prioritize that over small news for, you know, Master Rush. But that is how I would do it. I would try and prioritize the version of the game that is better, right? I just hope when OCG Rush becomes mainstream and official outside of OCG, people don't slander the heck out of it. I'd be like Decade, become Tomatocade. Hajume! Oh, that is the only thing I remember. I used to watch Decade a lot, like when he first started. Because like Duel Links Meta is an incredible resource, right? It is absolutely fantastic. And during the early days of Duel Links, DK did so much for this game. Right, he was making the tournaments. He basically almost created the community for the game, and I think that was so impactful and did so much. As for like personality wise, I've never like vibed with DK a ton. Like he had this like air of arrogance, which I think was part of his like character, that's fine. But I've never really vibed with that style of content creator personally. And obviously when Master Duel came out and he completely jumped ship, I was also a bit like, eh. Like for me personally, like I say, I will never abandon Rush Duel Links, even if something better comes along. But I might, you know, put it to the back shelf, right? It might play second fiddle, but I'm never going to like abandon it straight up, right? Negate. I think it's nice to have an alternative formats, but a shame we have no official way of playing OCG. What will Tomato say instead of negate? We don't have negates here. We'll have to use a specific Rush Duel term. It's called doing a decade. Isn't Tomato technically the decade of Rush? I think calling me the decade of Rush is too much of a compliment. I think Decade did so much for the community. I have done nowhere near that same level. Nowhere near the same. I was more a guns blazing. Bam, there you go then. Only missing the Tomato weekly. Most decks have an in-engine out to maximums even without effects to destroy monsters, but either of Claw's protection effects insulates it. I would rather Worms rely on traps to defend the max like they would do with their fusions. Yeah, but like I say, I don't mind Claw. I just don't like Claw on max. That is my big thing. I like Claw when we're using it the way it was kind of intended, which is we'll slap it on like our fusion monster and then we'll pop that and then it'll protect and we don't pop anything. That is the way I like Claw to be used, but it's awkward. Either Mono or Decade or Quant, those three, definitely the Decade of Rush. Mono or Decade or Quant? So first off, why is Decade in the conversation of being the Decade of Rush? Second, Mono is probably like the most Rush dedicated, but Mono also hates this game. So I don't know if the passion is there, but Mono definitely does a lot in terms of like, you know, running a lot of tournaments, helping out other people running tournaments. Quantum Cubes is a big one, because Quantum Cubes won the first World Championship. So Quantum probably has the closest Decade parallel, right? Lacking content creation. I mean, you still run the tournaments, right? You still do the streams. Doesn't happen frequently enough. Face down. Tomato and something host EDO Rush Tournament when. I don't know what that was meant to be. Tomato is correct though. I'm a hater. Exactly. Mono is the Farfa of Rush. I don't think that's true at all. Farfa is... Oh, man. So I like Wonky Quartet content. I really like all of their stuff. I really like... You know, I think Farfa's really funny. I think MBT is like probably my favorite, and then like Doug. Distant Coda has been kind of hit or miss with me. But the more I watch their content, the more that Farfa has just been getting on my nerves. Like irrationally. Like I'm irrationally getting upset with Mr. Internet Man. Because like some of the shit he says is so dumb. And sometimes I struggle to be like, is this a bit? Or is this what you actually think? And it's so like weird. Because obviously a lot of it is just hamming it up, right? It's trying to be entertaining. But he gets so annoying. To the point, I don't think I would ever want to do any kind of... Like, obviously it would never happen, right? First off, like, I'm minuscule. I'm a drop in the water compared to an ocean that is one of these bigger YouTubers. So I would never do any kind of collab with them anyway. As well as the fact that I don't think any of them give a shit about Rush, except maybe MVP, right? But I don't think I would want to do anything with Farfa, because I think he would just get on my nerves. He would just annoy me, and I just wouldn't enjoy that experience. Let's try and catch up with chat again. The anime has taught me anything, is that there's only one way to settle this: kidnapping. Exactly, bam. Haters are the biggest fans. Bro, why is Dr. Alex of still banned? I mean, it's something, the bot thinks it's something. I don't know, what is it? So it's Dral? Again, Dral is obviously censored for whatever reason. Just like Farfa, true. Kim Friend is the Decade of Rush. I don't think that's the case, you know. It's a bit, but I understand completely. I'm out. Tomato Swords and MBT is actually possible. I can see it. Tomato said he wouldn't do a collab with Quant. I mean, I would do a I think Quantum is a lovely guy. The issue is I don't really see... collabing doesn't really get anyone a lot outside of like just hanging out. A lot of the time, collabing is like... there's not really a need for it. Like, having anyone cast a tournament with Mono, I don't think makes the tournament stream better. Like, Mono is completely capable of casting a tournament on his own, right? Like, I don't think, like... unless Mono had, like, insanely good chemistry with someone, I don't think it's going to improve it. If anything, I think it's just going to be a lot of awkwardness. I don't know. It's a weird one. Again, unless, like, you very specifically have, like, very good chemistry. Just let the ads go away again. Ads should be gone in a sec. And it's gone. Hello, hello. Mono and I have chemistry. Yeah, don't put me with someone else in VC. So Kybercorp Con is not so much of a collab. I mean, I will probably be doing something with Rarity, which is probably going to be the closest thing to an actual collab. But like for a start, because of when Kybercorp Con is, I'm not actually going to be on the stream. I'm going to be asleep because it's like in the middle of the night. So my stuff on there is pre-recorded. So it's not going to be anything like super exciting there for me. Every collab you guys did so far was enjoyable. There you go then. It's a big event happening in October. Something, I guess, it will be a live stream. Well, it'll be a live, like I say, it'll be a live stream for y'all. I'm going to be in bed asleep when it happens, so. Alright, let's take a look. So if we come back over here, we got Worms here. Tier list. Where is Worms? Worms, guys. For me, I think Worms is tier 1. I don't think Worms is tier 0. I know a lot of people really want Worms to be tier 0. A lot of people really think Worms is tier 0. For me, Worms is tier 1. I don't think we're going to have a tier 0. Just going to go ahead and get rid of that. Bam. Gone. I think Worms, though, is good enough and has been putting up the results enough that it's going to be the only tier 1 deck. For me, personally, I think that is how this is going. With that said, all of these decks are probably all in the same tier. Right, so we'll have Gradius. I think Gradius is a really solid tier 2 deck. I don't think there's any real arguing with that. Now, you could make the argument, oh, it's just Giorfio. It's like putting up these results. But I don't think we need to go too crazy with, like, trying to shit-talk this deck. This deck is still good. Obviously, it did get nerfed. It's still good enough to compete. It's kind of not tier 0 strength, but tier 0 representation of results. I think it's really difficult for a deck to truly be tier 0 in Rush. And the reason why is Rush has so much variance that even the best deck can lose to a weaker deck. That is just how it works. So it depends then like what your definition of tier 0 is. There are some people that have like very definitive tier 0 definitions. And there are some people that are a bit like loosey-goosey with it. Like some people are like, oh, over 70%, that's tier 0. There's some people that are like, no, it has to be 90%. There are some people that are like, 50%. And then it's like, well, is tier 0 just tournament results? Like, some people say yes, some people say no. There's no, like, clearly defined, everyone follows the same definition of tier 0. So, for me, I don't think this is tier 0. I would have been tier 0 is it loses to DM. Does it lose to DM? Because here, it looks like it beat DM. And here, it looks like it beat DM. So I don't know. Like, does DM have an okay matchup into it? It would appear yes. But like, does it beat Worm? I don't know about that. Gradius feels kind of underwhelming in my opinion. I think Gradius is still a really strong deck. And Gradius can beat Worms. It's just you need to open the right cards to do it, right? I also think Gradius has a really weird matchup into Worms in terms of dealing with the maximum, sometimes it can be really annoying. 4D. I think 4D is probably also going in tier 2. I like 4D. And if you are able to just spam traps, it's really good. The downside 4D has is against worms. It can be really annoying to just out the maximum with the equip spell. Those two things together make it really difficult for 4D. Gradius tier 2. I mean, Gradius is in tier 2. It's right there in tier 2. The best deck can lose to drawing 5 bosses or 5 spell traps. But can you though? Right? Mono, let's go through this quickly, right? So if you play Worms and you open 5 bosses, what are your bosses you're opening? So you're opening Dragoon. Let's say we're playing double Dragoon, because that's like, it's either 1 or 2. Seems to be quite standard. Then you're opening, let's say, the middle max piece. Now, the only bosses left in your deck are the cards that activate your skill. Which means, worst case scenario, if we open all bosses, we can still activate the skill and then grab 2 cards. So if we just grab 2 cards off of our skill, let's say we grab a maximum piece, a side piece, and we grab Helmet, right? Now, we can just normal summon maximum piece, tribute it to summon out Dragoon, use Dragoon effect, use the other 2 from hand as fusion material, go into Dangerous Blaster, and bam! That is our bricked hand has almost done full combo, which is like that's so crazy. That's so crazy to think about. Royal Rebel with 6 backer removal wins against it. Trust. I mean, maybe. I mean, if you could win a tournament with it, that would be really advantageous to your position, a human. I think Worms are still beatable with tier 3 deck under the right hands, so I don't see it being tier 0, because if it's tier 0, it means it can hardly be beatable by at all with any of the decks in the tier list. Feel free to disagree, but that's how I see it. Yeah, I think anything in tiers 1, 2, or 3 can easily beat 1. I think easily. They can beat Worm. Gradius probably needs to high roll to beat Worms. Kind of. It depends, right? I think Gradius can beat Worms really easily if it wasn't for the maximum. But then it comes back to the same as the prior format, where it's open traps or die. And that's kind of still this format, right? We don't talk about the Metariad incident. Exactly. I think Rebels has good potential despite Shady and Trap Hole being everywhere. Yeah, I mean, that's why, like a human is saying, you have to play just a crap ton of back row hate. Have to open pretty good. I will bring it next tournament. I don't want you to bring it next tournament. I want you to win the next tournament. You gotta keep entering tournaments, keep bringing your Royal Rebel deck, and win a tournament with it. I want you to tally how many Worms you beat. Gradius looking like tier 3 for now. Hero tier 2. I disagree. I think Gradius is a tier 2. I mean, look at that. I mean, we can literally just look at the results, right? Like, Gradius has a higher win percent. If we go up and take a look. Gradius has 3 top 4 finishes, which means it has more than any of these other decks. Now, you could make the argument, Dark Magician is still new, so it will eventually overtake Gradius. I think that, absolutely fair statement. And that is probably something that I also am going to subscribe to. I think Dark Magician, in a worm-dominant meta, is better than Gradius. But I don't think 4D is better than Gradius right now. I don't think Elemental Heroes is better than Gradius right now. That's just my opinion. But I do have the data to back it up. Phantom Thief would work. Hero tier 2. 4D is really a tier 2. I mean, 4D is doing fine. Phantom Thief would work versus Worms, though. Phantom Thief would work versus Worms, though. What do you mean? How would Phantom Thief work versus Worms? Rebel Brothers in Arms. I mean, bind the battle trap. I don't know what you're saying, Dismovie. Hard to not play Worm when you have like a 30% chance of auto winning going second and then still be strong enough to win against Worms only. I actually think the best deck to deal with Worms is probably Dark Magician, just because you can play through Shady. Like, Shady just does nothing to you, right? After that, I think the next best deck to beat Worms is Worms. And that tells you everything you need to know about this current metagame, right? Everyone, we will force a rebel. It's definitely worked the last time with Sky Saver. Exactly. And they have a maximum. The battle trap that reduces attack. Oh, Phantom Bind? Or is that what it's called in English? I always forget, because it used to be Spirit Shackles, now it's Phantom Bind, so it would be Phantom Bind. I don't know if Phantom Bind is particularly good. Maybe heroes are fine too. Yeah, I think heroes are fine. We'll go down and grab them. Where are the heroes at? There you are. Heroes? I think heroes go in here. I think heroes are probably a little bit better than 4D. Heroes are probably in the same kind of ballpark. Actually, I think heroes might be better than Gradius in this current metagame. I'm trying to think about it. Hero has better deep draw, so they're better able to find their trap cards to try and survive against Worms. Hero also has easier access. They have about the same back row hate as Gradius, because it's either you make Burst Wingman or you find Spread Bomb. Either way, you're going to have the same kind of back row hate to deal with their shit. Heroes are probably better at dealing with the maximum overall, because you could either use Heliosphere, or you can just make like a big shining flare, both of which just deal with it easier. Yeah, I think I prefer Hero over Gradius in this meta, personally. Gradius a better turn too. Yes, I suppose. Because Hero has a big issue of, if Hero goes second, they are always feeling like they're behind on resources. Like, you have to open like an unbelievably good hand going second on Hero to really feel like you're strong. Deal damage, then you basically win turn 4 every time. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Dark Magician. Do we think Dark Magician is tier 2? Dark Magician is sort of anti-meta. Dark Magician could beat any of the other decks in this meta. And it has the added benefit that every other deck is playing shady. I don't know, guys. Dark Magician seems pretty good. I don't know. Hey, is that Quantum? Let's do an exclamation mark. Quantum in the chat. You have to be a LATAM if you go second. Bam. Just be LATAM then. Just be a Latin American. Just do it. Gio lost to DM, so I think so. Giorfio, 3-time Rush Worlds contender, 3 times had to qualify, beaten by Dark Magician. That means Dark Magician has to be the best deck, right? Kind of like Pyro in the Gaia meta. That's true. But Pyro was also really good. What's the best way to phrase this? Pyro was a really awkward deck because it was really bad into a lot of other matchups. Dark Magician isn't really bad into matchups. It's just very luck dependent, right? DM, if you open a bad hand, like, kind of just doesn't do anything, but also beats all decks equally because it just OTKs through everything. DM is literally there just because it can have a decent matchup versus Worm. Every other deck's matchup is garbage. Bro, my strongest hand open that match was OG Gradius, Option Bomb, and 2 meter. It just sounds like you lost. That's all I'm hearing here. So for me personally, I then have to ask the question, where do we put anti-meta? Because, right, if it was just this beats the best deck and that's it, I would put it in Hybroke. That's where it would be. But Dark Magician isn't like just bad into any of these other decks. It's just very volatile. There are some hands you'll look at and you'll be like, well, I'm just going to kill you. And there are some hands you'll look at and go, well, I'm not doing anything. So it's a weird one to place, because before I think we had it tier 3. But now I don't know. I don't know where to put it. Like, maybe bottom of tier 2 is where this belongs for now. It doesn't beat the best deck. What is the best deck, Giorfio? Are we talking about Worms? Because it has an okay matchup into Worms. Like, I think, personally, Dark Magician into Worms has a better matchup than some of the other non-Worm, non-Dark Magician decks. DM is the new Dark Galaxy. Oh, so it's tier 1? It is bad, bro. Like 30-70 at best into all the other 3. Okay doesn't mean positive. I think personally, this is deserved bottom of tier 2. I think it's going bottom of tier 2 just because, like we say, it's not fantastic into like the rest of the tier 2 decks. Or at least, it's very like coin flippy. But again, if you just draw like the God Hand, it beats all the other tier 2 decks. Like, Dark Magician is not stopped by Shady. It is not stopped by Star Pro. It is not stopped by like any of the back row that you would be playing, realistically. And it can clear all your opponent's back row that would stop it. So it can not be stopped by, you know, it's not going to be stopped by Trap Hole. It's not going to be stopped by Negate Attack even, because again, we're just going to get rid of it with Dark Magic Attack. Like, the downside with that Dark Magician has, realistically, is you have to just draw out all of your spell cards that boost its attack, or you don't do anything. It's the new Miss Mutton. I mean, kind of. In a weird way, it kind of is. I think you could maybe make the argument it's down here, like at top of tier 3. But top of tier 3, bottom of tier 2 is basically the same thing. The other 3 decks cook DM so easily. They summon 3 monsters super easily through Shady, so you never kill them on return. Yeah, but again, if you're playing Dark Magician properly, wouldn't you be playing Stop Defense or Pierce, and then it doesn't matter? Because that was always the weird part of Dark Magician, right? You needed to... If you're playing 1,000 Knives, you basically need to get your opponent down to 0 monsters, right? So you'd need to use, like, Eradicator Warlock plus, like, 2,000 Knives if they got 3 monsters, and then you get a direct attack in. If you didn't have exactly that, it's kind of a bit wank. I think DM is on the same level as Sky Saviors. Well, Geoffia, guess what? Sky Saviors potentially also a tier 2 deck. I actually think Sky Saviors is in an interesting spot. Because it's one of those, like... The value of Sky Saviors, really, is that it beats Worms. Or at least, it's not, like, beats Worms. But, like, it's okay into Worms. DM is enough. Digging Tools, Secret Order / Gaia / Draw Spell is enough space for text. I mean, yeah. I mean, for me, this is the order they're going in, right? Whether or not these are down here or not is irrelevant. Sort of. Like, the point is, I think these decks are slightly worse than these decks. It feels that until your opponent knows how to play against them. Well. Tamai, stop rage baiting Geoffio. No, it's fine. Geoffio likes being rage baited. Give me more Lure Fusions? Yeah, more Lure Fusions would make this deck feel a lot better. So, we'll talk a little bit about Sky Savior now, since we talked about the rest of these already. Sky Savior is a weird deck. After playing the deck, so I've already put out my video on Sky Saviors. I think it's interesting. It's fun to play. But Sky Saviors is a deck where it feels like you have to put in 90% effort to get 10% return. Which just, that isn't like a bad thing, but it means sometimes you look at your hand and you won't really be able to do anything. And a lot of the time you have to spin so many plates. You have to like occasionally do a little bit of gambling in order for the deck to work how you need it to. You need to make sure that you're playing everything extremely correctly and precisely, and everything has to be done in the right order, everything, and there's not really any margin for error. And then you end up with a board which is like, okay. And if you're able to constantly recycle Wish, the deck feels like reasonably strong. But like, you don't get to do that every single game. If you compare that to Worms, Worms kind of gets to do the same shit every single turn, right? They get to do the same shit every duel. Their skill is so good, they can just search out everything that they're missing, and they get to blow the crap out of your board. Also, Doc Moore is a really, really good card into this current meta, which does also just give it this extra leg up, where it has a lot of tools to deal with being destroyed, and there's a lot of destruction going on this meta, which I think really helps it. Also works well in other decks, but works better potentially as pure variant, so I would put Sky in High Rogue or Tier 3. Sky Savior, fun to play with. I understand the appeal. Fun to play against? Heck no, unless you draw a lot of back row hate somehow. the thing is, Sky Savior, like, doesn't do anything crazy, right? If anything, isn't 4D more annoying to play against? Like, they're both trap spam decks, except 4D trap spam's easier. I don't know. It's a weird one. I don't know why people don't like the non-Floodgate version of Sky Savior, because all it's doing is Wish and Dolkmoor. They're like the annoying cards. Whereas if you play against 4D, they're using Tower, they're using Shady, they're using Star Pro. I don't know. It's a weird one. Tomato, can I DM you? I don't want to say it in server, so I just want to ask if DM would be okay. I mean, I don't mind. People can DM me. I've got, you know, it's a free country. Is that Shui in the chat? Let's do an exclamation mark, Shui. Savior is stall deck, Reason grind playing it. I mean, it is. But, like, in a way, Heroes is a stall deck. And 4D is a stall deck. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just control. People just don't like playing against control decks. There's a lot of control decks in the game. What's the point of the deck without it core floodgates? I mean, it's just a control deck. That's all it does. It just doesn't floodgate when it controls. I find Wish more disgusting than any other trap card in Duel Links Rush currently. Again, just my opinion. I mean, that's fair. Like, a spin to the bottom, which also sets up your next turn, is really annoying. So, with that said, let's go on to the next deck. What is the next deck we want to talk about? What is the next deck we want to talk about? I mean, Music Princess is probably going in tier 3. Music Princess is a weird one. I think Music Princess is like... Where do I actually think Music Princess goes? It's a... It's a strong deck, but also we're in a weird meta for it right now, where everyone is playing Shady. Which does put it in a bit of a weird spot. Where Dark Galaxy? Oh, we'll get to Dark Galaxy. We'll get to Dark Galaxy. Music Princesses, I don't know, man. Probably tier 3. Probably going to end up in tier 3. Red Eye's best deck. Hello, Ira. Welcome, welcome. It has access to the best trap in the game with the drawback of having a garbage engine. I don't even think the engine is that bad. I think if it had a better skill, or we had the rest of the Sky Savior cards, it would be fine. I think the card quality it has is probably fine. I have to send a friend request first? Okay. Well, we'll get there. I'll take a look at it after stream. Music Princess is in a weird spot. I'm probably going to leave it in tier 3. So this is a deck that can threaten your opponent's back row. And it can play through Shady. So, like, it has that going for it. Now that we have access to 2 action as well, it's in, like, a good spot to have a lot of good OTK plays. The tricky one. I mean, power plays? Oh, yeah, this deck has, like, no power plays at all, right? I say Music Princess is lower than DM and Sky, though. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm leaving it right now, bottom of tier 3. Though, I think the actual weird deck to place is going to be Dark Galaxy. Because, like, how does Dark Galaxy compete in this current meta? And it's weird, because this was one of the stronger decks. Like, my gut feeling is this is tier 3, which feels so weird to say. Like, if we go over here, like, is anyone even playing Dark Galaxy? It hasn't had a single result. It has not top 8'd. I don't know if anyone's even playing it, which makes it really hard to place. On paper, it's like, okay, but why would you play this when you could play Worm? Twerk, thank you. Probably not going to be happening, but hello, Hero ABC. Dark Galaxy, not even Rogue. It was never one of the stronger decks. I mean, it did very well for a not strong deck. Just saying. I don't know, it has Dark Hole Device. Yeah, Dark Hole Device is just, in general, just a strong card, right? I'm playing Dark Galaxy in my silver games, and it's really good. Bam! There you go. That's all we need. Dark Galaxy is good in ladder, in tourneys though, Well, we're only really... Because on ladder, anything can be good. Right? We're kind of looking at, like, tournaments. Dark Galaxy still tier 3. Dark Galaxy is probably fine. Yeah, I think I don't want to put it any lower than tier 3. I think this is probably where it belongs. It's just I wish I had more data for it. Close to Music Princess in my opinion, maybe slightly better. Yeah, these two are difficult. I was thinking about putting it above Music Princess, but I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Music Princess with action freed is kind of scary. But Dark Galaxy still has access to back row hate, like, quite easily, without going too committal. Whereas Music Princess kind of has to commit to their back row hate. Dark Galaxy was doing well before Worm, wasn't it? Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic before Worm. Can you explain Gradius Tier 2? Hello, Murata, by the way. Does it have tournament results? Is it only Jorfio? There are two different players that have been doing okay with it. In terms of making it to top 4, I believe it's just Jorfio. But in top 8, we've also been seeing... Where was it? One of these, there was 2 Gradius, wasn't there? Maybe there wasn't. Maybe I'm making shit up. No, here we go. It was this one. This tournament. There were 2 Gradius players that were playing it to, like, okay finishes. I think Gradius is an okay spot. I don't think Gradius is, like, in, like, an awful spot. But then again, like, everything's bad into Worms. So it's like... Maybe I should join some tournaments with Dark Galaxy. That's what I'm saying! If you guys could get some wins with some different decks, that would be sick. I want to see more Rebels. I want to see more Dark Galaxy. Dark Galaxy has access to more spells to sack. Music Princess has to open custom engine or can't win. Does Music Princess have to open custom? So, you have to open a boss to get the skill rolling. Also, Music Princess sucks going first. Like, Music Princess going first is so giga ass. Because, like, you just end up, like, not doing anything. And you can end up with a bunch of bricks in your hand. So... Maybe I put that down there just because of that. Like, you have to go second with this deck. Or you have to open a crack turn 1. 2 people entering with Gradius per tournament. Musaranho also got top 8, I think. Dark Galaxy hasn't been nerfed since Worms came out. So that's just... everyone dropped it to play the new stuff. But it was stopping before that. Yeah, but the question becomes... Is there a reason to play this? When there is a better version of it already. Like, what does Dark Galaxy do that Worms doesn't do? Right? Dark Galaxy can pop 3. Worms can pop 2 and doesn't have to gamble. Dark Galaxy can summon their boss for any 1 tribute. Worms can maximum summon. They can summon one of their bosses for any 1 tribute. And their other bosses, most of the time, not going to be tribute summoned anyway, and is going to be sent from the hand to the graveyard by a Dragoon's effect. This deck has access to a back row hate guy. This deck is playing 3 back row hate because of the mirror and to hit stuff like Sky Save Your Wish and Shady, so it's going to have back row hate anyway. Like, this deck can raft the board with Dark Hole Device. This deck pops cards that are face down on the board anyway. I don't know. Like, there's almost no reason to play Dark Galaxy as long as Worms exist. Back when this had Chrysaor still, maybe you have an argument, because it's like, well, this deck can attack 5 times, this deck can't. Right? But, like... Music Princess rarely OTK, going second, Dark Galaxy can. Well, there you go then. I'd at least rank Aether higher than Gradius. But Aether gets hard-walled by maximum plus field spell plus equip spell. So Aether's not in a great spot. We're getting to the point where decks are having to build their decks in a way to beat the maximum. Which I actually think Aether is in quite a bad spot in this current metagame. I think it's in a worse spot than Gradius. Music Princess feels like DM kinda, except the DM doesn't really lose to Shady. I would make an argument that like that DM is a lot more erratic, and you have to kind of just open a really good hand to do anything. Music Princess feels a lot more consistent than Dark Magician, but Music Princess loses to trap cards more than Dark Magician. Right? That's like the big trade-off, right? Or the big difference. Music Princess often has Shady turn 1 versus me, and their turn 3 usually play through my Shady. Yeah, but so what you're saying, Dwan, is if your opponent just opens a trap card, their turn 1 is good. That's true for every deck, though. And Music Princess doesn't exactly have the ability to dig for their traps. So it's just raw, did you open your trap? Which, like, that you could say that about literally any deck. If any deck opens a trap card, they're in a much better position than if they had not opened a trap card. So I don't know if that's, like, a good enough argument to have it placed any higher. They pop 1 back row. Bam. Yes, they can always mill their legend cards. And never mind, Max is also a pop 1 back row. Exactly, there you go. I guess for Worlds players, it's another worm. Yeah, kinda. Like, that's the thing. When you're thinking about the 5 decks you're going to take to Worlds, suddenly you have to change your perspective. Because now, decks that maybe weren't really worth thinking about taking to a tournament, suddenly you're now like, actually, this is really important, taking to this, right? Don't lose that, just build correctly, ether, I mean. Yeah, but then it comes down to you've now got to build the deck very specifically, right? So, like, if you're playing the Dragonic Pressure version, right? Now, you have to summon out Ether, pop the field spell, then activate Pressure after that. So you've already invested 2 cards into it, and now you've got to spend more cards to go into a new board, effectively, which can be kind of annoying. So then it comes down to, well, are you going to play additional back row hate in Ether? I mean, you could do. DM would probably be second best deck right now, if only it was consistent. It's a tricky one. If DM was consistent, DM beats everything, right? Like, DM, if you're able to consistently stick a DM, have a way to get through a defense position monster, and give it 6,000 bonus attack, it beats everything, right? What would beat that? But it's not consistent. That's always going to be its issue, right? Trombo can dig for a trap. Yeah, that's it. It's like discard draw. That's like the best you got. I mean, if any deck had the ability to open 4-card combo, then there's better stuff than DM. Is there? I'm trying to think. I mean, to be fair, yeah, 4-card combo. DM probably needs a 5-card combo to be, like, actually, like, completely safe. Hello, Hunter. Welcome, welcome. Even Gradius can have crazy OTKs? Yes. Gradius, though, has to work so much harder for it. DM just has to find the funny spell cards, and then you play the funny spell cards and the game's over, right? But there isn't a lot of thought in the DM matchup. Like, the brain power used in DM is working out how much we can dig through our deck to find trap cards on turn 1. That's kind of it. Hello, what won yesterday's Mono tournament? Worm. Yes, it was Worm. We can see the results right here. Look, it was Worm Mirror. Worm Mirror in the finals. Bam, 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 bam. I don't really know what other decks we have to big up here. I mean, are there any decks that we haven't talked about that are in this pie chart? So we talked about you, we talked about you, we talked about you. It's just Seven's Road. Seven's Road is the last deck that has been topping that we haven't talked about. I don't know. Bottom of tier 3 seems fine. Sevens is it's a weird deck, man. I don't really like it. It's a strange one. Like, Sevens is quite consistent, and it kind of bullies decks that are weaker than it, but it's kind of bad against everything above this, I feel. Like, what does Sevens actually have a favorable matchup into any of the decks above it on this tier list? Because I would be hard pressed to say it does. Matarian best deck? If you say so, my friend. The friend Matarian? I mean, Matarian, again, we're talking about... Are we talking about it has a good matchup into Matarian? Or are we saying Matarian should be on the list? Because the reason Matarian isn't on here is because it hasn't got a top 4 finish. We haven't moved on to the top 8s yet. Gradius? Does it have a good win rate into Gradius? I don't know about that. Put 7s in Rogue. I mean, it's either top of high Rogue or it's bottom of 3, right? That's realistically where it lives. At some point, you got to start putting stuff in Rogue because 7s is ass, but so is Music Princess. I think Rogue is like the next stuff. I think this stuff is all fine. What did I lose since we were talking about DM? Yes. Off topic, who should I focus on for my fantasy or semi-finals without England bias? I mean, I would stick to what you've already got. I think Dembele, I think Mbappe are really, really safe picks. I think Kane and... what's his name? What's our midfield that keeps scoring? Why have I forgotten his name? Him. I keep wanting to say Henderson, but it's not Henderson. It's Buh. I forget him. I'm awful with names. I'm so bad with names. I think for the other teams, it gets a bit trickier. I mean, probably, like, Messi is probably going to do really well. Especially because Heartland is gone. I think Messi is now just, like, probably the second or third best striker left in, depending on how you look at it. If it goes second, 7s just don't have anything to force traps. I mean, you're not wrong, but a lot of the time they do just play back row hate, right? I would say Music and 7's Road is higher Road, to be honest. It's also not that consistent because the best power plays are not searchable. You flip and option and pierce 800 and the game is over. I mean, that's assuming they haven't just opened a trap card, which, to be fair, is kind of the name of the game right now, right? Only time I saw 7's top was Gryan memeing with his plot armor. I mean, in the last format, so first off, 7's Road is here, but it's just got the one top, right? But if we look at the last format as well, like 7's Road was here. Like, it was an okay solid deck, like a solid tier 3. And I think we're just kind of carrying that forward into this format as well. I mean, I could put this here. I don't think I'm moving this down either way. This is either going here or here. None of this stuff is going down. So it's going to be this or this. Realistically. Tomato, in your opinion, what's your fave deck in the current Duel Links Rush and why? What's my favorite deck? Unironically, probably Worms. Worms for me ticks all the boxes. Worms is not too taxing to play. It's very, very strong. The game plan it has is really cool because being able to pop 2 monsters in your opponent's field is awesome. It also plays around 2 different summoning mechanics, both the maximum and fusion, which I think is a really interesting dynamic. I really like it when decks are able to play more than just one summoning mechanic and make good use of it, and I think that's really, really cool. I think Build Dragoon is just in general a really fun card, and the Worm Maximum has always been either my favorite or second favorite maximum monster. So being able to play it and have it actually be meta relevant is really, really good. I've been saying for a long time that if Autumn Leaves came out, then Worms would be in a really good spot, and it's a really fun deck, so absolutely fantastic. The only knock I have against Worms is it's too good. The only issue I have with it is I don't generally play tier 1 decks like that much, and it's a tier 1 deck, right? Also, the mirror for this matchup sucks, because the mirror is just resolve trap cards and you win, which I don't think is very engaging. Bellingham, that's it. It's Bellingham. I know it was something. We got there at the end. 7s can dig for traps with Dealer, but unlike DM, this deck loses to Shady and can't out a Worm's board. The Dealer looks much worse in 7s than in DM, because ideally you want to get rid of Dealer with the skill, which you would upgrade for Cat. Yeah, that's how I feel as well. I've never really been a huge fan of it. It usually just sticks there and doesn't really help. It's kind of like playing the second Argent in Hero. You only do it if you desperately have to, because having an Argent stuck on the board sucks. Alright, let's take a look at the next decks that are on there. So if we go back to over here, Destructive Explosion. So what is in here that is not elsewhere? Is it just Metarian? No, it's Metarian and whatever this is, Chemicalized. How did Chemicalized get a top, by the way? It was the very first event. So according to like the data, it would be Metarian as the next one. I've just made my Metarian video. Metarian is actually in a weird spot. Metarian isn't actually awful in this current meta. It's not great. I'm not going to sit here and pretend, oh, it's a tier 2 deck, guys. Metarian, fantastic. But it's not like dog shit awful. It is definitely playable. I managed to take games off of like all of these decks above it. It absolutely can win games. It's just not necessarily as consistent. And I think that's where it falls apart. And that's always been Metarian's issue. If Metarian was consistent, it would always be a really, really powerful deck. Not being consistent, not being able to search everything out that you need, like a lot of the better decks can do, really, really hurt it. Hello, Bisma. Why Execute is not tier 1? Devastated. Oh, don't you worry. We'll get there. We'll get there. I expect you to say Noodle to be your favorite. Noodle is not fun at the moment, is the issue. Noodle has so many restrictions on it that it just becomes more of a hassle to play. And I don't really like engaging with it. Can't tell if it's better than Dark Galaxy. I haven't played Dark Galaxy in this current meta, so I would not know from experience. Like, if I play Dark Galaxy for the same number of games that I played Metarian, I'd probably have a feel for it. But I've played this one, I haven't played this one. Noodle is worse than Sevens. I mean, realistically, we can even plot it on. Noodle can go up here. Noodle is either Rogue or High Rogue. Part of me wants to say it's High Rogue. But realistically, it's probably just Rogue. And then by that extension, we can also go ahead and grab this. This is probably just going High Rogue at this point. Again, why would you play this? Wait, why would you play this when you could play this? And why would you play this when you could play this? And why would you play this when you could play this? Like, that's kind of the vibe we're going for. Like, Noodles is like the 4th best version of Worms. That's kind of how I look at it right now. And Metarian was great before. Your only out of the time was exactly Legend Trap. Yes. I mean, that's kind of the same reason why Light Galaxy was as good as it was, right? And Metarian needs more extra deck space. I think a lot of the main deck needs to be tweaked around what you want to have in the extra. So, I will just say this. As someone who played probably like 20, 30 games of Metarian, I actually don't think you actually need more extra deck space. There was never a time in any of the games I played where I went, God, I really wish I had the 3rd Ashura Star or the 3rd Victra Star, or I didn't want to put any other guys that weren't already in Mexta in. The only thing that I really wanted was a 2nd copy of full Metarian Victra Star. That was the only card where I was like, man, I would just really like to have just that one more card. That was the only one where I was like, oh, I could really do with another copy of that. 3 full Metarian bosses, 2 Ashura, 1 Victra is good now because Metarian Fusion, but the space is so limited. Again, I don't find the space being the limiting factor of this deck. I think in actual fact, the main deck space is way, way harder to find room for, because you need to play a bunch of traps. Because if you go first and you don't open a trap card, you could just get OTK'd. You could just lose immediately, and that's not a good time. So you want to play as many traps as you could fit in just to survive in that matchup, especially because you're not deep drawing. So you just need to just guarantee you're just going to find one of those trap cards in your opening hand, which again, you need to run as many as you can to increase the odds of that happening. So because of that, it then takes up too much space, so now you can play less spells, and the deck is a spell spammy OTK deck, so you need to play a shit ton of spells for it to do anything. Why even play anything that isn't Worm? Well, you could play like things that are supposed to counter Worm. Like, that's like the alternative, right? Like Galaxy and Rogue 2. I mean, there's probably going to be a lot that goes into Rogue, realistically. Because the mirror is completely 50-50, so I'd rather try to win something else. Worm mirror is basically no thinking about. Yeah, the Worm mirror is find more trap cards, pop your opponent's trap cards. That's it. That is the entire mirror. Nothing else matters. If you can resolve more trap cards than your opponent in the mirror, you win the game. That is all there is to it. So I don't know. The Worm mirror is not particularly fun. Not particularly engaging. It's entirely luck dependent, and I'm just not a big fan of it personally. What else is there going to be? Where does this go? This is an interesting one, actually. Where the heck does Red Boot fit in this current meta. Like, part of me is like, maybe this should even be... Because this deck can spam traps. It's quite good at playing the trap cards that deal with this. It can just OTK still. Out of here, trash boot. It loses to the traps? It does. I actually still think I would put this higher than 7s. You know. Unironically, I think this is better than 7s in this current meta game. And to an extent, I actually think Metarion is better than 7s as well. Plus it's inconsistent. It received Fadril. Is Fadril that great for this deck? I'm trying to think about it. What do you take out for Fadril? You would either have to take out the beta burn, or like some people are playing like the 1500 vanillas. You have to take out that for it, I guess. I wish that applies to my experience on ladder against boot. They always have the perfect hands to counter my boards. Flap. Oh, Flap is a weird one though. Flap is a card that can occasionally be the difference between winning and losing. And it's not searchable, so just playing one is also a bit weird. I don't know. But in some situations, Flap just doesn't do anything. So is it even worth playing it in the first place? But like, something that's going to come up like maybe 20% of the time. It's a tricky one. Pierce? Pierce is another one of those. Well, Pierce and Flap are kind of the same card, really. It's just like, do you want it on a body or not? Alright, Royal Rebels is next. Rebels is probably going in High Rogue as well. The question becomes where in High Rogue. Because I don't actually think this deck is in like a horrible spot. It's just not in a great spot. Because this deck it's going to have the issue of trap cards mess this deck up. Right, pretty much every trap card. Star Pro you can kind of get around, but now people are playing Trap Hole and Shady to deal with worms. You're going to get hit with them. So like people have been saying already, you have to have a bunch of anti-back row. And unfortunately, a lot of the time, Prog Rock is not going to be the good anti-back row choice. Rebels Tier 1. RB feels Shady delay and it's completely game over. Well, that's why you can play it in the version that plays the... What is it? You play the 3 Genie and you play the 3... What is it called? Heavenly Selection? Is that the one where it pops back row? So you just play a crap ton of back row hate. And then you basically just play it as like an OTK strategy, which is fine until your opponent has a bunch of set monsters, and then you go back to not doing anything. So it's a weird deck. Oh, we're talking about RB there. I think Rebels is better than 7s, though. I'm inclined to agree, but I just don't think 7s is very good. I actually think that this is better than 7s. In some ways, I think this is better than 7s, but I think we're going to leave 7s up here either way. Let's try and fire some other decks off. This is probably fine as a rogue deck. This is fine as a rogue deck. We got to have it on the list, so otherwise Jorfia will just keep getting angrier and angrier. We'll probably put this into high rogue. I think this is still like a solid deck. This is probably high rogue or just regular rogue at this point. What do we think about Jointech? Jointech is a weird deck. It just got unnerfed, but like, is it doing anything? Like, is Jointech doing literally anything right now? All those decks suck going second and lose to Shady are just infinitely worse versions of one. I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. What deck is the high rogue? You talk about this one? This is chemicalized. This is the Pyro Fusion deck. Jointech with maximum? Exactly, I don't know. People were saying that Jointech was going to be good into worms, and I'm just like, I don't see it personally, but I don't know where baseball sits anymore either. Because baseball again gets shit on by all the trap cards. Like, so hard. I mean, does any of the rest of this even need to come onto this list? Like, maybe you could say something about D-Linker. I'm actually, I don't know where Pyro Phoenix goes. I'm tempted to put Pyro Phoenix on as well. Because these, like, decks are kind of worth talking about, but not actually that great. Pyro is better than this, come on. I don't think Pyro would go to tier 3. But, like, where in High Rogue would you even have it? Like, maybe here? I don't know, it's a weird one. Pyro should be higher. Maybe not bottom. It's another one of the decks that ass into Shady and do nothing going second. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. But I mean, that's why High Rogue exists, right? These two are interesting, because these are two more decks that can kind of ignore Shady, which is something. This deck also does play a 2500 vanilla and Secret Order, so it, like, at least has something it can do into Shady. It's just that on its own isn't going to win the game, right? Because you can make the same argument about this deck. Pyromax has the problem that cannot outworm Max. What do you mean you can't out the Worm Max? You use the effect. Wait, actually, I need to double check how this works exactly. Gotta make sure this works how I think it does. Be this one, right? Yeah, destroy a spell trap. Right, so all you do, you summon the max, you pop the field spell, then you use the other effect to pop the maximum, and then you attack directly. Easy peasy, right? It works. Now read the other effect. Ah. Right. Right. There it is. Yeah. Oh, in my head it sounded so good. It sounded so good. Until level 9 or lower shows its ugly head. Don't go in your own tier. Get back down there. Most of the time, D-Link spawns bodies, usually Mataria and Vanillas with the trap at best. I mean, I don't think D-Linker is still going to be that good. I think it just has, like, one little cute trick it can pull off, right? Destroy the monster in the graveyard, then the max! Perfect. Is that card Handy Lady? What the heck is that? Handy Lady? Oh, you talking about this one? This is D-Linker. Unless you're talking about something down here. There's no Handy Lady here. This is Dimension Linker. So this is like D-Linker Gradius, I guess. Like, it has the slight benefit that you can cheat bodies onto the board. And you can completely ignore Shiny Shady. That is like the one party trick this deck has. How did everyone forget about Lady Duel Links? Nah, she's fine. I mean, nothing else needs to come on this list, right? Like, realistically, no one gives a shit about any of the rest of this. None of this is making a showing. I think you could even make an argument to take some of these off. Aqua, I think, is completely dog shit into this meta. But I don't think we need to even talk about it. V-Friend is also dog shit into this meta. Like, unless there's something meaningful to say about them, I don't see a point in having them in Rogue. Pyrofusion. Pyrofusion's right here. Right here. XQT. Oh, what do we want to say about XQE? Alright, XQE can get rid of the maximum. So I think it is worth talking about. So, okay, we will put that in Rogue. Handy Lady doesn't even appear. But I also didn't recognize the fusion. I think Pyrofusion is better, but whatever. Where would you put this one? Here's your question. Where would you have this? Because I don't think any of these decks in High Rogue are like complete ass. These are all fine. You want it in tier 3? You want an entire tier above? So you're saying it is as good as Music Princess Dark Galaxy. And it is better than Red Boot. It's better than Rebels. It's better than Metarian. Music Princess is giga ass. Why is he there? I think Music Princess like isn't in an awful spot. Music Princess like isn't like exceptional right now, but I think it's fine. It has out to Worms. Yeah, but all of these decks have outs to Worms. Like any of these decks can out Worms. There you go, like Jofia said, any deck has out to Worms. I mean, what in here doesn't out Worms? Like all of these decks can beat Worms, it's just Worms is a lot more likely to beat them. Like, outing the Worms just means be able to deal with a board and pop back row. Like, what else more do you need? Like, other than that, it's play trap cards. Max plus equip plus field spell. So what you're saying is you have to play a back row hate and then pop a monster. And that is it. That outs that board. Like, this deck does that. This deck... Can this deck do that? You can make a big guy, but you can't actually deal with it. You'd have to use... You'd have to play back row hate, then go into exactly Blue Fang enhanced, and then pop it that way. Which is very awkward for this deck to actually pull off. I actually think maybe this is better than that. Right, I'm moving things around a little bit. Rebels can do it with the right hand. I mean, yeah, Rebels easily could do it, right? Like, Rebels is just get rid of the field spell with whatever you've got. And then pop it. We're talking about this as if Pyro can consistently make both fusions. Well, Pyro... I'm trying to think, does Pyro even play their own back row hate? Or are they just using... Chemicalized Salamandra as the back row hate? I'm actually pretty confident Royal Rebels should be good in this meta, just need to prove it. I mean, yeah, I think this has potential to be. I'm just not convinced by it yet. Pyro can't do shit versus the equip. It depends if you're playing the MST, right? If you're playing Fiery Blaze, because then you could just pop the field spell. But it comes down to, are you playing it? Because it's another one of those decks where the back row space can be a bit tight. I'm thinking about Music Princess again. I'm thinking about... Where even is Music Princess? It's here. So it hasn't had any tournament results whatsoever. No top 8s in this current format as of yet. But then so is Dark Galaxy. They're in the same boat. I think I will move this up to the top of tier 3. I think that's where I want to move that. Turn 1 skill, baby. I mean, okay, but then this goes for every single deck of draw the out. I just don't see what Dwan means with Pyro has the out to the 1. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe, you know, Dwan has more info he wants to share. But the way that I look at it, the way you out that combo is just back row hate plus monster pop. If your deck can do that, then you can out it. Now, if you can do that through Shady, that's even better. The downside is I don't think this deck can do that through Shady. Also, this deck doesn't really have a good way to pop the max. You kind of have to just attack over it with Chromatographicus Archer. So even this can beat the Worm max, right? You just use Backrow Hate, summon out Meteor, pop, maximum, gone. Probably bump this up slightly. No, I think this is good. I don't think we need to change anything else on here, right? They're face up, not face down, which makes them vulnerable to some cards, unlike when they're face down. I mean, what is relevant right now that matters if you're face up or face down? I'm trying to think. Because this is popping them either way. I mean, to be fair, actually, the low-level one. Low-level Bark come up. Outs it. But then again, are you ever summoning this like that? We'll just wait for the ads to go away. Just wait for them to tick down. Wait for them to disappear into the ether. Welcome back from the ads. Everyone that got hit with ads. Looks good for standard tournament setting to me also. Yeah, I think this is how I like it. Again, we're always going to be doing them based on tournaments, right? And to a certain extent, it kind of expands to everything else. Obviously, if you're talking about Worlds format, that's going to be different because you have to pick your 5 best, and you wouldn't necessarily just like take these 5, right? You've got a lot more considerations. In terms of ladder, it doesn't matter. Ladder, everything can cog, so it's whatever. So it kind of just leaves tournaments. And tournament-wise, I think this is how I see the current metagame. And we started to see some experimentation as well, with like Hero now playing, I think it was Yaden we saw yesterday, playing 3 copies of Avian Spell Tactics. Yeah, I think I'm happy with this. I don't think we need to tweak this anymore. I think this is fine. So with that said and done, I think we are just going to end the stream. I haven't really got much else to delve into today. I don't really want to start playing. It's still very, very warm. So I'm going to head off of here and go and get some food. I think that is going to be the plan. The first year for Rush, the only being allowed to archive skills matters. I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, like, if we take a look at the current decks, in fact, if we just go back over here quick, just so it makes it a little bit easier. Oh, there we go, that's better. We can see that, like, archive. So, like, only being able to use 2 of these is kind of tricky. I think, well, actually, this is archive as well, right? So maybe the play is, like, Hero Dark Magician might even be the play. Unironically, I think I might actually take Dark Magician over these 2. As weird as it sounds. And then for Legendary, it's what? 1, 2... What third Legendary deck do you take here? Like, you're taking, like, Music Princess, Metarian, Royal Rebel, Chemicalized, Red Boot? You're taking, like, one of them? I don't know, man. Very funny that Gradius is... Oh, yeah, Gradius isn't an archive. Oh. So you could go, like, 1, 2, 3? And then, like, 1, 2? I would probably do... I'd probably forsake 4D, if I'm being completely honest. We should only be getting a deck build before Worlds. Yeah, it should only... Well, you never know. You never really know what we're going to get. It could be a deck build. They could also throw a selection in. Because last time we got a selection... Like, we would have got it last month. And then it would have been, like, this month. And now they could do it in like, August if they want to. I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. But that is going to do it for today. I probably will not be able to stream on Thursday. I have some specific stuff I've got to do. Got to run around a lot, so I don't know if I'm going to have time to stream on Thursday, but we will see. Tomorrow, we hopefully will be doing our Zexa Watch Along. So we're going to be doing, hopefully, that tomorrow. And I am not going to be here on Sunday, so I cannot do a Sunday stream. So that is the plan for this week. I hope everyone enjoyed the stream. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Goodbye.